Oh, yes, it is time. It is time. Hello, my friends. Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals watching, hopefully all over the U.S. Who knows? Maybe nobody's watching. I think one person's watching on Instagram. Hello. This is the return of the Dustin Curry Quarantine Show. I am broadcasting live here from Humboldt County, California, live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram here for all of you to see. We've got an interesting show. First of all, look at all of those tropes. Hi, Rosemary. Look at all these tropes that I just went through. Like, oh, well, hey, welcome to the show, y'all. I mean, I have no joke for it. I have no recompense for it. Is recompense even the right word? I don't even know. I can just tell you that I've put at least an hour of thinking into this show, which means that it's going to be just about as well developed as anything that I put on in my life. So let's go ahead and get started. Why don't we? Something happened last night. Something happened last night in a little state we like to call Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma was home to a Trump rally at the BOK Center. Make America Great Again rally. Now I want to get these digits right. They were expecting around 1 million people who had grabbed tickets. Of course, the BOK Center can't fit 1 million people. I don't know a lot about sports arenas, but I assume that since it is about that size, it probably has somewhere between 40 grand to 100 grand people, right? Seating capacity. I know that, my only frame of reference for sporting arenas is pretty much the Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where my family used to go to see Cardinals games, where my family still goes to see Cardinals games. They just don't take me because I'm a crazy Californian, I guess. So less than 6,200 people showed up for this event. It seems like it was some level of a catastrophe. Less than 6,200 people showed up for this thing. Al Franken, the former senator from Minnesota, Al Franken, comedian from Saturday Night Live, tweeted that acts that drew bigger crowds at the BOK Center in Tulsa in 2019 includes Shanana. Do you guys know do you remember who Shanana is? Shanana is the band that performed at Woodstock in 1969. Woodstock, here's Jimi Hendrix. You had acts at Woodstock like Jimi Hendrix. I think Janis Joplin was there, but don't kill me if I'm getting my histories confused. But then there was Shanana, who showed up at Woodstock. It's a doo-wop band, just a whole bunch of white guys performing doo-wop. Doo-wop-a-doo, shanana. I can't even do it. But Shanana drew a bigger crowd. The Pips without Gladys Knight, by the way, drew a larger crowd. Loverboy, John Tesh, who are both bands and people that I'm not even sure who that is. I'm sorry. Don't know. So they drew a bigger crowd. Here's one. The West Virginia Touring Company of La Traviata drew more people to see a show at the BOK Center. Good on the BOK Center, though, by the way, for having a touring company of La Traviata. How about that? Good for them. What is your response? Those of you watching, if you're watching, what is your response to what happened in Tulsa last night? I can tell you my response is this. Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have a lot of friends in Oklahoma. I lived in Oklahoma for 4 years. I have a lot of friends in Tulsa that, either from passing through Tulsa or from going to school in Oklahoma and running into people who live in Tulsa. I know a lot of Tulsans. I also know a whole lot of anti-Donald Trump Tulsans. As a matter of fact, probably my friends list holds the majority of people in Oklahoma who don't like Donald Trump, which tells you about the number of people in Oklahoma that don't like Donald Trump, I suppose. And yet, this messed up. There was some sort of a mess up. How do you mess up a Make America Great Again rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma? David Duke, the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's a fact. I looked it up before this. My internet browsing history has the Ku Klux Klan in its browsing history, unfortunately. We're going to have to change that soon. David Duke was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and still they couldn't fill an arena of Trump supporters. Bernie Sanders tweeted out that maybe it's a sign that, you know, the fan base is a little smarter than Donald Trump thinks, that maybe they knew to stay home, knew exactly how important it was to be safe in this time. Or maybe it's just a sign that there's a crack in that wall. You know? They say that the reason why so many people didn't turn up for that particular thing... Oh, let's see, Aaron Singleton comments, a friend of mine called it the Political Fire Festival. Ouch! That's right. The Political Fire Festival, F-Y-R-E, for those of you who aren't caught up on that. The Fire Festival happened in the Caribbean a couple of years ago. It was just a... I don't have to explain it to you, but it was just a massive disaster. There's at least 2 different documentaries, one on Hulu, one on Netflix. Go check it out. Yeah, what a day. And it turns out that the reason why this happened is that there were millions of people, at least, well, millions is maybe hyperbolizing, 1 million people that requested tickets, free tickets for this event, but the people that were actually requesting it were people who had no intention of actually going. This included K-pop stans, as they're called, fans, for those of you who are not hip with the internet lingo. K-pop fans, as well as Redditors. Oh, who else am I missing that we also had come out? I think furries were involved. Just everybody. A whole lot of internet people got in on this. The power of the internet to us all. And all that I can say is thank you, all of you K-pop fans, and I desperately hope that you are old enough to vote in November, whoever you are, wherever you are, all across the nation. So that's what happened in Tulsa last night, and that's about all that I have to say about that. We're going to move on to the next topic, which is Father's Day. I think this is going to be a maybe a short show, I think, just because I haven't called my dad yet, and that's an important thing to do. If you haven't called your dad yet, it's Father's Day. Call your dad. Call your father. It's important. As a matter of fact, now that we're here at Father's Day and I've got this platform, I would just like to take a quick moment to recognize my dad, if you don't mind. I'd like to recognize my dad. Anyway, I'm kidding. Now I just realized that could be a really sad thing to do to your dad on Father's Day. But in all actuality, love you, Dad. Love you, Dad. And if you haven't told your dad I love you yet, you should consider that. I know, Ashlyn says, call my daddy. I know, I've been getting ready for this show. I've been getting ready for you. I'm trying to put this out there for all of you. Really what it is, why I'm doing this, isn't for the fame or the money, although that's very important as well. It's really just I'm trying to do something important on the internet without taking my clothes off. But, Rosemary says, look in the mirror and you'll see your dad. Oh, that's great. There's a question for the group. This is the talk show where you are the guest. So please feel free to comment in and tell me what you have inherited from your father on this Father's Day. I, for one, of course, apparently look somewhat like my dad, which is awesome. But I've also discovered that I have inherited my dad's laugh, the way that he laughs. And there's a particular thing that my dad does when he laughs, which is that he'll go, that little thing at the end. I have absolutely inherited that little sigh at the end. This is all your fault, George Curry. But I'll take it. I will inherit it. It will be your lasting legacy. That little that you do. So I want to get to the main topic of the show today, which is I'm going to talk a little bit about remakes, remasters, and reboots. I just got something in the mail this week that reminds me actually of my father a lot. One of the earliest memories that I have of my father. By the way, my father, a couple of years ago, when I was doing YouTube videos regularly, pre-recorded YouTube. I wanted to be the next Tyler Oakley, really. And now I guess I'm trying to be the next, I don't know. This whole rough and tumble thing makes me think like Joe Rogan, but don't compare me to Joe Rogan. I'd hate that. I would really hate that. That would be awful. But one of my earliest memories of my dad is him playing the video game Myst. It was a computer game released in 1993. 1993, y'all. It was essentially the world's first adventure puzzle game, where you would... I'm going to try to describe this to you without showing it to you, but then I'm going to show it to you later. Not those of you on Instagram, unfortunately, because we don't have this technology yet. But if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I'm going to show you some video. Myst was this puzzle game where they pretty much created these 3D images, or these still images that would populate the world that you are playing in. And so you would click through each segment of the images, and this would... So you'd have an image of looking down a path this way, and then you could click to turn this way, and it would turn, and then you'd see an image of the going down a fork in the road this way, and you could turn this way, and then this way, and here's a puzzle piece, and you got to go do this thing with the puzzle. And so this game revolutionized the video gaming industry. I think it was the very first blockbuster video game of all time. For those of you who remember a time when there weren't blockbuster video games. And over the course of the past, 30 years since that thing was released, it has been remastered and changed. There's been at least 5 different 5 different editions of the game, 4 different sequels, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. We're going to make it there. And the latest version of it is called Real Myst. It is a 3D version of the original, which means that you can free roam inside the world that you're dropped in. Let me just take a moment to read to you sort of the concept of what Myst is. You've stumbled across a curious old book and touched an intriguing image on its pages. Suddenly your world fades to black, and you now find yourself on the dock of a mysterious island with no idea what to do. The first thing that you should do is take a breath and relax. There are no mutant zombies, mafia hitmen, drooling aliens, or rabid hellhounds on your trail. Nothing is going to kill you in this game and force you to start over. So, now what? Explore. This is not just a pretty place. It has a history and a mystery. Think and act as if you were really there. You'll find bits and pieces that reveal an intriguing account of what went on. This surrealistic adventure will become part of your world. I love this game. I've loved it since I used to play it on the Windows 95, I believe, was the first time that I ever played it. Yes, you can have a virtual hug. There's a virtual hug for you on Instagram. Real Myst is the latest version of this. They've completely changed around how you move through the world. It feels like a more traditional video game, or at least a more modern video game, I suppose. And I am one of a few, maybe 100 people to own this physical edition of it. It was released in late May digitally on the Nintendo store for Nintendo Switch, but I went the extra mile and ordered a limited edition hard copy of it. I know I did because I got the little limited edition. Look at that. It's so pretty. You guys can't necessarily see it, but look, it's like that. Pokemon people know what this is called. It's like the foil, pretty... I don't know. I'm not a Pokemon card person, but I highly recommend this game. I love this game. Real Mist. If you have a Nintendo Switch, which, let's be honest, most of you probably do because you're all playing Animal Crossing right now, you can get this right now on the Nintendo Switch. Real Mist is also available on Windows and Mac operating systems. So go to your App Store and you can play it there. And I'll bet you it's also on some level of Android or iOS for your phone at this point. If it decides to follow in the tracks of Skyrim, you know, pretty soon it'll probably be on smart televisions and smart refrigerators and smart VHS players and that sort of thing. So coming soon from Bethesda Softworks, you heard it here first, the Skyrim ported to the smart toaster oven Skyrim. So I guess that brings me to my next question for the group, which is, what is your favorite remaster, reboot, or remake of any sort of video game, movie, television show? I want to know. I want to talk about it. And also, what is a property that you would like to see rebooted, remastered, or remade? So a reboot, of course, means that they're going to be inspired by whatever happened in an earlier concept of this game or this movie, and they're going to reboot it. They're going to recreate it. They're going to do it in their own sort of way. Different actors, that sort of thing. A remake is more about just redoing exactly what we had before, and a remaster is particularly, I think, in the game world, just more about this taking an original game and making it pretty for those of us that want to play it for nostalgia's sake nowadays. A year or two ago, I played Spyro the Dragon, which was remastered. Another one of my childhood memories was playing Spyro the Dragon on the original PlayStation. I'm not going to say PlayStation 1 because goodness knows it's probably there's probably going to be another PlayStation 1 like they did Xbox One, except it's like Xbox 4 or whatever. We say Autism Thespian 93 says Beauty and the Beast 2017 and Night of the Living Dead 1990. I have only seen part of that Beauty and the Beast. I don't know. I can't tell you about it, but feel free to write in and tell us what you like about it. I'm a big fan of... we'll get to that. I'm going to share something with you. Actually, okay, winding it back. We're winding it back. First of all, this is only the third quarantine show I've ever done, so you're going to have to bear with me. We've got new technology. So the cool thing is, I can now show you, like, video clips from some of these games. I can't show you on Instagram, I'm afraid, because we don't have a switcher for the camera for Instagram. It's just a technology they haven't invented for Instagram yet. But when they do, I will have it. But those of you here watching, I'm going to start playing video of Myst. That's what you're watching right now. This is Myst, Real Myst, Masterpiece Edition, which is the brand new 3D render of Myst. Those of you who maybe, like me, have some nostalgia for the original Myst can see some stuff that you remember. It's, like I said, it's free roaming. I highly recommend it. Take a look at that. This is Myst. It's now available on Nintendo Switch. Toss a coin to your switcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. I've also been watching The Witcher, by the way, on television, on Netflix, which is out now. Sorry, having to again overcome that the technology learning curve here, um, which is another property that I am very excited got a modern television version. It had been created. There was a Polish version of The Witcher, which I guess was called The Hexer. That's how it translates in Polish, which is where it's originally from. I've been an absolute Witcher nerd lately. By the way, it's just I've downloaded the ebooks. I've been playing the video game. I've binge watched the show. My roommate Nate and I. You all know Nate the Magician, who is part of my performing team, Punch Love. In any other summer where we wouldn't be stuck indoors, I would be out street performing right now with my dear friend Nate. But instead, we've been sequestering ourselves indoors. We started our own binge watch of The Witcher last week at about 8 o'clock, thinking that maybe we'd just watch one episode, 2 episodes. No, at about 4 in the morning, we finally finished the series. It was my second binge watch. I was just trying to introduce Nate to it, but really that's what the quarantine's about, isn't it? Just staying up until 4 in the morning binge watching Netflix. It really brings a warmth to my heart and a headache to my brain and lots of coffee to my lips. Any of you who actually know me know that I don't drink coffee, but it's just a phrase that I wanted to use. Anyway, going on, I want to show you an upcoming reboot, remix, remake. This is the reboot of, I guess the remaster, because it's a video game. The remaster of Destroy All Humans, which comes out in July. Those of you on Facebook are watching it right now. It's a... I don't even know how to describe it. I didn't play it when it's in its original version, which I think was available for like maybe PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. I can't remember. I'm doing a great job of selling it. They're not paying me for this, so why do I care about promoting it? It's just something that I'm looking forward to. I'll probably play this game. It's an alien invasion game where you take the place of an alien and just do as the title says, destroy all humans. After what I've seen of humanity during this pandemic and people not wearing their masks, I would say that it's probably okay that we can destroy all humans. I think that the aliens that don't drive past Earth while rolling up their windows and doing this, I think that those aliens that don't do that maybe should come here and destroy all humans. But the next thing that I want to talk to you about is a game called Stubbs the Zombie. Here's one that you guys might not have heard of. Stubbs the Zombie. The full title is Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse. And this is probably my number one favorite video game from my nostalgia years. I played it originally on an original Xbox. I still have a copy of Stubbs the Zombie somewhere back home at my family home in Arkansas. But what I don't have is an Xbox because the Xbox didn't last as long as the game did for some reason. Stubbs the Zombie is a great game. It's just like Destroy All Humans, except the idea is that you are a zombie who has risen from the grave in the middle of futuristic America. And this isn't even like futuristic like what we think futuristic is going to be, like robots and AI and all of that. This is like a 1950s retro-futurism that they've created. So everybody's in hovercrafts. It's like the Jetsons, pretty much. And this game pits you against all of humanity in this retro-futuristic world. And the idea is to eat as many brains as possible in order to create your own zombie horde and take over the town. I'm a big fan of it, and I'm going to go ahead and show a little clip from it. This one actually has audio, so you can hear, because one of my... I had to get this clip for you. Those of you on Instagram, again, why aren't you on Facebook? Because the great thing about this is that my favorite thing about the game is probably the voice acting, because they have gotten these guys to do like ambient voiceovers for the people who are getting their brains eaten, and it's just the most over-the-top cliche 1950s, like Dawn of the Dead, screaming voiceover acting that you've ever heard, because they're really trying to satirize the genre. So I'm going to show you a clip of that. I think it's really hysterical. And the fact that the script writing is just so tongue-in-cheek 1950s, it's just a joy to watch. So here we go. Without further ado, here are some clips from Stubbs the Zombie.
That's where I can see him. Light him back. Stop hitting me!
Have you thought about changing your diet? You really should.
You cannibal!
You cannibal!
It's eating my soul! Why me?
Welcome to the fertile crescent biome, where the grass is always greener. Today at the world's most advanced greenhouse, meet me, Maggie Monday.
So, as you can see, those of you who just saw that clip on Facebook and YouTube, no shade to the Instagram followers, I suppose. But come on, come watch it over here. Plus, why do you want to watch a live video sitting here like on your phone? Come on. That's Stubbs the Zombie. I think that I'm saying it right here. I am also sorry for those of you who just got the wrath of me shoving that down all in this microphone, which is the only microphone that I'm broadcasting from. I'm going to throw all of the power of the Dustin Curry quarantine show behind getting a remaster, a reboot of Stubbs the Zombie. There was supposed to be a sequel forever ago, but it just never got made. So here it is. I am officially calling on the creators of Stubbs the Zombie to remaster their game. You have the power of the Dustin Curry quarantine show at your disposal. Let's make it happen. And I'm sure that that's lots of power behind that. It's true. It's true. Anyway, what are some of your favorite remasters, reboots, and remakes? I'm also going to include Broadway revivals. Give them to me. Type them in, send them in, type them in the comments. Otherwise, this is going to be an incredibly short show. Of course, I'm perfectly fine doing this show without people chiming in. That's totally fine. I sit here and talk to myself in this room all the time. It's quarantine time. It's quarantine. I talk to myself in this room all the time. This is just a matter of me documenting it for all of Facebook to see. What is your favorite remake, remaster, reboot, revival of anything? I want to talk about it. Speaking of, creating something from maybe, let's talk about this. Here's one of my favorites. I'm a big fan of Legally Blonde the musical. I'll admit it. I'm wearing my punk rock battle jacket, but I have no fear in admitting that I like Legally Blonde the musical. It is not a revival, but it is something that was created from an original movie concept, and they brought it to Broadway. How about that? If you haven't checked it out, it's a great show. Go ahead and check it out. What's another one? I've recently been turned on to... here we go. While I was living in Dallas, I saw the show The Toxic Avenger, which might be one of my favorite pop, cult musicals of all time. It's written with this great sort of punk metal rock score, and it's all sort of about satirizing people who don't believe in like climate change and all of that. It's a great show. Yes, the Coffee Queen says The Producers, the movie musical, is a big movie remake. Yes, that's one of our favorites as well. The Producers by Mel Brooks was originally a movie that was then created, turned into a Broadway musical, which won 11 Tony Awards, I believe. And Erin Singleton says that she wishes they would do Riven next after Mist. Hallelujah! I would love to have a remake of Riven. I own it for PlayStation, the original PlayStation, but I'd love to have it for my Nintendo Switch as well. But The Producers was originally a movie starring Zero Mostel, then made into a Broadway musical starring Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane, and then remade into a movie musical starring Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. So really, the only thing that it's missing is, I think the next stage is claymation. That's actually Mel Brooks who said that claymation is probably the next way we'll go in recreating the Producers. So what's another one? I'm a big fan of, actually I've got a poster on my wall, Reefer Madness, the movie musical, is another one of those that started as a propaganda film back in the 1930s. Reefer Madness, I'm sure that it's on YouTube, you can watch it. It is a show that was created by propaganda artists to try and inspire, America's youth to fear weed and marijuana, and it was funded by, Harry Anslinger, the news baron. And depending on the amount of research you want to do into it, which I have not because it was just a spur-of-the-moment thought, you'll also realize that at the same time that Reefer Madness was coming out and all of this anti-weed stuff in the 1930s was coming out, it was also a time when the DuPont family, famous textile makers, were coming up against all of the hemp farmers who were using hemp as a low-cost, high-yield textile, but goodness knows DuPont couldn't let hemp come in the way of their textile industry, so they helped get it outlawed. So that's part of the reason why hemp has been such a demonized plant and textile source. And alongside that, marijuana, weed, all of that. But Reefer Madness started as that propaganda film. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go and watch Reefer Madness. I think it's like 30 minutes to 45 minutes on YouTube, probably. It's got to be in the public domain. It's really old school. But it is all about the dangers of marijuana. I'm looking at the poster right now. It says, "The sweet pill that makes life bitter. Women cry for it. Men die for it." And it shows people like eating glass and jumping out of windows because that's what weed does to your body. I'm sure, it's a performance-enhancing drug. If your performance is if you're an athlete if you're performing, you're an athlete in the hot dog eating contest. Chances are you're gonna do good with your performance-enhancing weed. Anyway, Reefer Madness started as a propaganda film, and then in 2001, I believe. First of all, look at me coming out here with all of this trivia about Broadway and off-Broadway, by the way. The Tony Awards, I think it was 11 Tony Awards for The Producers. You can fact-check me on that. Because I'm someone on social media who doesn't care about fact-check. Well, I care. What I'm saying is I care about fact-checking. I'm not afraid to be fact-checked. I care about fact-checking. Thank you very much. Eventually I'm going to finish this story about Reefer Madness. I just keep going on tangents. But Reefer Madness started as a propaganda film. In 2001, it was turned into we're going to use our words, I promise, satirical musical off-Broadway called Reefer Madness the Musical. where they were just lampooning the entire movie and all of the people who were crazy about, being anti-weed. And then eventually, that off-Broadway show was adapted into a Showtime movie starring Alan Cumming, Kristen Bell, Christian Campbell, Nev Campbell, and I'm sure that there's more, minor celebrities that I'm forgetting about that are in that show. It's a great show. I love it. I've seen it live. I've seen the movie musical. I've seen the movie. Oh my God. It's a great property. It's really funny. And I highly recommend it. So, that just about does it for me, I think. We're trying a new format with this Dustin Curry quarantine show. I'm hoping to try and do more of a topical broadcast. In the past, I've done sort of themed shows. The original one was reading reviews of sugar-free gummy bears, which was a lot of fun, but my God, how tiresome was it to just sit here and, read all of that disgusting stuff. And I've also done a Ouija board question and answer segment, as well as I was planning on doing some Cards Against Humanity. I think that's still going to be in the cards, but I'm going to hold off. I mean, look, the entire world is in turbulence right now, and it might just not be the most PC and, well thought out thing to do Cards Against Humanity right now. I'm going to vet it, and I'm going to make sure that even though we're here to have some good, dirty fun, we're going to, not completely piss off people and cause me to be another Logan Paul or Jake Paul or whoever that is. Those internet celebrities that are just dicks. That's the last thing I want to do. I want it printed on my gravestone that I did everything that I could to become famous on the internet without taking off my clothes. And really, I'm just saving you guys a whole lot of pain and anguish from having to see that anyway. So, without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye to you all. There's one more joke that I wanted to say about Trump at the top of the show, and I just remembered it, and so I'm going to go back and I'm just going to say it because I don't care about structure. I don't care. This is a live video on Facebook. So, here's my joke, which is that I'm just a girl who can't say no, but it seems like about 990,000 people who were supposed to show up at your event, Donald Trump, did say no. Thank you all very much. This has been the Dustin Curry Quarantine Show. Yes, we'll be back soon. Probably next week. But who holds on to that sort of thing? Maybe I'll be back next week. Maybe I won't. I'm not on a television network. We are on a quest to be radically eccentric. Preach and love. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you more.